Janice Morgan tightened her jacket against the biting autumn wind as the ferry left her on the shores of Rock Island. The isolation of this place was palpable, the stillness broken only by the whispering trees and the lapping of Lake Michigan's dark waters. She had come here in search of answers buried in the island's enigmatic past. A historian by trade, Janice had been drawn to Rock Island by whispered rumors of its eerie history, Potawatomi lore of shadowy figures, unexplained fires during the European settlement era, and the bizarre disappearance of an entire community of new settlers in the 1800s. The main trail led her toward the ruins of the old lighthouse, its skeletal frame a black silhouette against the crimson-streaked sky. The stories said the lighthouse keeper, a man named Emery Crane, had gone mad, scrawling strange symbols on the walls before vanishing one stormy night. Janice adjusted the strap of her satchel, her notebook and camera inside. She wasn't superstitious, but the weight of the island's tragic past seemed to hang in the damp air. Her first stop was the crumbling remnants of the settlers' village. Charred foundations peeked out from beneath a carpet of moss and dead leaves. Locals on the mainland called this place cursed. Animals wouldn't graze here. Birds wouldn't nest in the twisted trees that grew in jagged defiance of nature. Janice knelt by one of the burned-out structures and ran her fingers over a smooth, blackened stone. It was warm to the touch, despite the chill in the air. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Janice decided to make her way back to the ranger's cabin, the only place on the island with functional shelter. The woods seemed to close in around her, their shadows lengthening, and every crunch of leaves beneath her boots echoed ominously. She spotted an unfamiliar trail branching off from the main path, marked by a crude wooden sign carved with the word, Haven. Curiosity gnawed at her. This trail wasn't on any map she had studied. She couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. Despite her better judgment, Janice followed the path. The forest grew darker, the trees gnarled and clawing at the sky. Soon, she came upon a clearing where a solitary cabin stood. Its windows glowed faintly, and smoke curled from the chimney. Relief washed over her. She wasn't alone after all. She knocked on the door, but it creaked open at her touch. She called out, stepping inside.
Hello?
The cabin smelled of earth and ash. A table was set for dinner, though the food was untouched and covered in a fine layer of dust. The walls were adorned with strange symbols, the same ones she'd read about in Emery Crane's journal. A sudden thud upstairs made her jump. She asked,
Is someone there?
her voice trembling. She climbed the staircase, each step groaning under her weight. At the top, she found a bedroom. A woman's dress lay draped across the bed, its fabric stained dark. The mirror on the vanity was cracked, and as Janice approached, she froze. In the shattered glass, she saw a figure standing behind her, a gaunt woman with hollow eyes and blood-stained hands. Janice spun around, but the room was empty. Her breath came in short gasps as she backed away, only to feel something cold wrap around her ankle. She screamed and kicked, falling to the floor. When she looked down, there was nothing there. She fled the cabin, her flashlight bobbing wildly in the dark. The trail back seemed to stretch endlessly, the trees whispering incomprehensible words. She tripped and fell, scraping her palms. When she looked up, she saw them, figures emerging from the woods. Their eyes glowed faintly, their mouths twisted in silent screams. One of them was holding the dress she had seen in the cabin, blood dripping from its hem. Janice ran, the figures closing in, their movements unnatural and jerky. She reached the shore, the ferry dock a shadowy outline in the distance, but the figures didn't stop. One reached out, its cold hand brushing her shoulder. She stumbled onto the dock, screaming into the void. The last thing she saw was the lighthouse's faint glow before everything went dark. When the ranger returned the next morning, he found her notebook on the dock, the pages soaked and scrawled with strange symbols. Janice Morgan was never seen again, her disappearance adding yet another layer to the island's haunting mysteries.